Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Resident, and I'm back again with another view and review. Today, we're going to be playing Gwen in the mid lane versus Corki. Corki right now is very, very strong and way more abusive than he's ever been right after his rework. So, going into this matchup, already knowing that, we're going to have a more defensive and sustain oriented rune page, something that can help us try to absorb and deal with the poke and harass that new Corki is able to dish out. Now we're gonna have fleet footwork, we're gonna have absorbed life, we're gonna have D shield and second wind, and we're really just gonna hope that this can help us really just battle and stay in lane as long as we can. Because right now you're gonna see this Hail of Blades Emax setup with Corki is very abusive, and there's not much we can do to really deal with that. If you're gonna go Conqueror or maybe even First Strike, I feel like it's gonna be really, really hard. So definitely giving this a try, and I think it worked out pretty well. It allowed me to break certain rules, it allowed me to overstay. That way I can stay in lane and absorb, a lot of this pressure that he's able to dish out, even if you're not getting a lot of jungle help. So as we already started in the lane, you can see I'm being pushed in, and I'm just trying to get what I can. I'm not going to be able to get every CS, but the most important thing you can do in the early game is soak up XP. Now, gold is a resource that in the early game you should be okay with giving up every now and again. XP differential is much harder to overcome. If you're level 1 and your opponent is level 3 or level 2, they're going to have extra access to abilities you may not have, to income that you're not going to have, because each level is more than just a number by their name. They're going to get access to another point, they're going to get more damage or just stats from being a different level. So you really got to keep that in mind. Is losing half your HP bar worth 1 or 2 CS? Is about what, 28, 30 gold early game worth you having to go back, maybe TPing back, and really putting yourself at an XP and level disadvantage? I don't think it's worth. So going back to the current lane phase, we're kind of just hanging out. If you play Gwen, you understand that you are not the strongest early game champion. We're a scaling champion, so this isn't the best part for us. Hence why I'm really trying out fleet footwork on this champion, especially in the mid lane. You're going to be really, really outranged by most of the champions you're going to go into. The LeBlancs, the Corkis, the Rises, the Zera. This type of setup might be something you would really like. And it's something that I'm even seeing master tier, challenger tier Gwen's run on these data mining websites, op.gg, onetrick.gg, and I see them on occasion running this rune. So we're here giving it a shot. And I think it's okay if you don't need the damage early. If you're not capable of bullying and you're really, really going to have a hard time surviving, you have to really weigh your options on a game-to-game, matchup-to-matchup basis. And something like this, I think, is really, really attractive, because I'm going to have damage anyway. And this isn't a Scion, this isn't a Mundo. This is something that if we're fighting later on, it's going to be a damage fight. Really quick, small burst. I'm not going to have time to stack up Conqueror. You really have to think for yourself and weigh these options. For me, if Conqueror isn't best, I'm not going to blindly run conq every game. I sit here sometimes on the Gwen Reddit, and I'll see these people say, run conq, run XYZ, no matter what, and I think that's wrong. You have to do what you feel is necessary to win that specific game. League of Legends is a dynamic game. There are, of course, going to be situations when some things are just generally good, but not always. So something like this, I really think fleet and this setup is pretty good. Generally, I also like the mods. We get a plate, we're able to not stay there autoing for much longer, and it opens up this ability to now do this. We're into the jungle, look at us, we're in this fight, we're ulting, we're healthy, boom, triple. Very nice, very nice. Now when we backed, we went and got a blasting one. It's the highest AP item from my general first item most of the time in the mid lane, which is Nashers. You can run other stuff as well, but I really enjoy Nashers first in the mid lane. Top lane, maybe you can build something else depending on the matchup. There are some very abusive matchups to go, but when the character you're going up against is very squishy and you have these very tight windows of all in potential, Nashers seems like a great option, and I've really been enjoying it. Now we sit back, we think about backing, but I really want to make the most out of this rune setup, and I really want to push myself to the limit and see how much can we get out of it. We do have the second wind, we do have Doran's shield, so, and of course the fleet. Now we're gonna get a lot of healing, so let's just sit back, get this XP, and try to scale. Now he steps into turret for reasons I don't know. This guy's really trying to get a kill on us, but we're good. Look at that. A little bit of movement speed as well helps as well. And now if you just sit here and think, how many times could we have utilized conq to its fullest potential? Aside from that little skirmish we had by the dragon, there was none. There was none. And if we didn't have fleet, if we didn't have Doran's and, you know, regen, a health pot, we would have been screwed. So we see that Corki is back. I noticed that he doesn't have TP. So we're going to try to move this lane under turret. But in hindsight, it's probably best to just sit there and back. You know, we're low on mana, we're low on HP, and we get pushed off of this, which is okay. It's not the worst. But in hindsight, it being 2020, it would be best to just leave back and refuel. So we're coming back from lane. We have a blasting wand, we have recurve bow, and we have the fiendish codex. Now individually, some of these items have been nerfed over the course of the season, but it doesn't really matter too much for us. We're really trying to get our big ticket item, which is Nashers, and this is a staple item on Gwen specifically. It really just brings out her full potential. So some people aren't building it, but it's a very small group of people that are trying to steer away from it. But I think that's more for some build diversity, because Gwen's best builds for the most part are pretty simple and they're pretty much like known and found out about. She doesn't have a very dynamic build path where she has, you know, an AD build, an AP build, on hit build like some of these other champions. So I do think a lot of it is some Gwen mains, high elo mains, low elo mains. They are just kind of looking for different ways to play their champion, since her build path is quite binary. Now look at the poke that he could do for us. That is crazy. That is a lot of poke to deal with. We're gonna try to just stay. Now I'm not too sure if he's gonna be able to kill us from under the turret, so we're just gonna try to heal and ult the wave. If you can, just like Rumble players do this, Rumble mains do this. If you're in a really shitty situation and you have ultimate, just use it. If there's not an opportunity for you to use the ultimate to get a kill or some sort of major objective, keep your tempo high, drop that ulti, and get out of there. Now if you look at the wave, you look at where Corki is, we got most of it, we got all the XP, and we come back. It was a very bad trade. I mean, not the best trade for us to take, but I mean, he outranges us, and this Corki champion is a menace. He is a menace right now. He should be slated for some slight nerfs soon, but definitely Freak outdid himself on the balance team, and really made this champion a force to be reckoned with. Nice. And you can see the damage upgrade instantly as soon as we get Gnasher's Tooth. I'm telling you, this item is amazing. You know, really think about keeping it as a staple in your picks because it will do wonders. Now it looks like we have some time and we are rather strong. We see that we have our first item and we know how strong we are. So let's look for a gank bot lane. We instantly ghost. We do not wait for us to be in combat to ghost. We use it beforehand because it's going to be up for several seconds and we could really utilize it as such. Now that's a double kill. Don't sit in lane perma. If you're playing Gwen in the mid lane, the best part about Gwen is once you hit your item spikes, you could get around the map. You could go bot, you could go to dragons, you could go to these major objectives and really put your fingerprints on the outcome of the game. Now let's see if we could chase him down. Top lane's coming as well. And it looks like he's a goner. Wonderful. So you can see we're trying to keep high tempo. We have Gnasher's Tooth. We know that it's a very powerful item on us. We have ghost up. We make our way bot. We get a couple kills down there. Instantly run to mid lane. See that we have ult and make a play. Whether it's going to chunk him out or kill him, we're just trying to do things on the map when you're strong. And I emphasize that, knowing when your champion is strong. Now, like I said, in the early game, we were just kind of like trying to hang out. We're using fleet. We're using absorb life. We're using our defensive starter item to help us get to this point. We do not have a problem with damage later. You know, you have to do what's best for you. Some people might need assistance with damage. Some people might need assistance with staying alive or whatever. You gotta use your noggin. You gotta use your brain. So we TP back to lane and we're right back at it again. We're 5-0. We're worth 400 gold, so we kind of have to be careful of giving that back. Now, when you're strong, that doesn't allow you the opportunity to just go pretty much ape shit and do whatever you want because you're strong. You can kind of have that freedom to do that when you're behind because you kind of need to make things happen. When you're ahead and you're significantly ahead, you actually have to play a little bit smarter with these bounty systems and stuff like that. You're going to give off a significant amount of gold back to your enemy, and with certain champions like Corki who scale exceptionally well as you do, you have to be mindful of such things. And another thing you have to be mindful of is your teammates. What ultimates are up? How well are your teammates doing? You can see that our team is doing exceptionally well. Now I also see that Shen has an ultimate up. You can see I'm trying to press up in the lane more and be aggressive as such. I'm gonna keep going here. We missed a couple of the ultis, but we get him. We're really low. Shen ult comes over the top. And these are the type of things you have to be aware of. You have to look at your map. You have to hit tab. You have to be aware of things. You have to see what's going around you. This is a team game. It is 5v5. You know, even with a champion like Gwen that is more selfish, mostly what you bring to the team is damage, AoE damage, true damage. Basically, we hurt. That's what we do. Gwen hurts people. You know, we walk around with a giant scissor and we do damage. But the thing you need to know is if you're unable to bring that to the table, you don't bring much else. So when you're making plays, you have to think, you have to be aware. Now that was an excellent ulti, timely ulti from the Shen. Now when you're playing solo queue, you're not always gonna have, you know, teammates do the right thing. Oh, what a play. We dodged. Oof. Nice little sidestep. I think we die still. He's so fast. Oh, he's so fast. But a nice little sidestep from us on that rocket. And we're insanely fed. We could do some of these type of plays But like I said, you really have to be careful. Being this ahead, we give the shut you down, but it goes to Warwick. Wow, look how fast this Warwick is. Mans was just mid killing me. Now he's top trying to make a play there. Fortunately, he goes down as well. Now, a little tip I've noticed while learning Gwen and playing Gwen is the importance of using your E while you're in Q animation. You will see me a lot of times just having patience to get that one last auto attack in to proc your passive so you could get that fourth, you know, big snip Q in there, or holding my Q, being aware of my E timer so I can actually reposition while my Q is active. Nice stun there. Not sure what's going on there, so we just use our ultimate to zone. Auto. Very nice. And the same thing like I just said, you see us repositioning with Q if we can. QE. Every now and again, if I see some like lower elo Gwens play, you see more often than not, they are Eing, then Qing after. And I feel like it just creates a redundancy. It allows you this weird way where you kind of have to actually hit your Q because you will miss it very often. I was doing it myself, and now I just have more patience and knowledge around holding on to and trying to min-max my abilities as well as I can. Now, another thing you're always going to see me do, if I see a camp, I take a camp. You're playing a 1v9 champ, a carry champ, Gwen, Tryndamere, Fiora, you know, Camille, any type of champion like that. You see a camp, you take a camp. When you're really, really strong, at this point in the game, everyone's strong. But like, let's say you're the only carry, you're the only one doing well. I'll take my jungler stuff, I will take their jungler stuff. All resources are going to come to me, especially if I already have a large portion of the gold. It's not going to hurt for me to get more. You know, I'm not saying to steal, you know, minions and stuff from your opponent. You're not your opponents. From your teammates in their face if they're trying to get big as well. But if nobody's there, take it, because if your team's not going to take it, the other team's going to take it. Now we're hitting these points where Gwen is absolutely broken. 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Gwen is crazy. I compare her to the likes of Kale, Kassadin, you know, these big late game monsters you have to fear. And with the addition of her having true damage and high mobility, it's really disastrous for the enemy to make any mistakes if you're capable of capitalizing on it. Now, just like top lane and mid lane, even in jungle, Gwen split push is crazy. Just because you're in the mid lane, you do not have to stay mid. We can hit the side lane, we can rotate with our top lane or our jungle, whatever, to try to get these exterior turrets. They are worth so much gold. They punch a really, really big ticket to these next items that you're gonna need. Now, also, I really enjoy just sitting in these bushes. You see Garen players do this a lot, when they'll just sit in the lane and they'll wait for people to walk by and they'll just maul them. I think Gwen is really good for that as well. High mobility, sticking power with her ult, and if you have Ghost, it's really good as well. The fleet will give you some movement speed as well, and you can really just sit there. Now when splitting, look at how we're taking this turret. Sometimes it's best to sit in the side lane but not be in vision. Just sit in the bush and just wait. Okay, we see Shen ulting here, big play, ghosting early, like I said. Nice. Okay, we go over, risky. We're gonna have E soon. Just get out of there. Let's just take this turret. And at this point, it should pretty much be GG. GG. I think the big takeaway from this game was not being frustrated. It's frustrating regardless to go into that level of abuse on a champion. You feel like there's nothing you could do. But knowing that you're going to eventually get to where you need to be is very refreshing, and it kind of helps calm, you know, the abuse that you're getting into in the mid lane or in top lane as well. Okay, we TP right back in. Fight's going on. Instant W. Oh, we do so much damage. Oh, look at Viego too. Now, I think this is so cool when I get to see like Akshan and Viego and Gwen all play on the same map with their lore and stuff like that. I find it so cool. Okay, let's go get this guy. Where are you going, buddy? Where are you going, buddy? Don't mess with us. Okay. What are you doing? Get cooked. Get cooked. I mean, we smashed. Complete domination from the team. And honestly, I think things would be very different if I went a different rune setup. Conqueror, I would have had no use. We would have had to constantly back, go down levels, give up even more gold, cause extreme frustration, especially being in the center of the map. Losing your turret early, losing plates early, it really screws over the rest of your team. You have no access to dragons, you have no access to rifts and grubs, and you pretty much just screw over your whole team. So for me, the mindset here, sit back, lose a little damage, but overall, do more damage by staying alive. Do more by staying alive. The worst thing you want to do is have a game where your team is clapping out, they're doing great, and you hold them back. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's excellent, excellent, excellent. And if you don't believe me, check out some of these websites. Look at high master tier players and them juggle between conq and fleet and other runestones. Don't get caught up in one thing. All right, guys, have a great day. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I love to watch my own reviews and see if there's anything I could do better and just talk about the game. Have a wonderful day. Peace.